What's up, guys? It's Black and back with part 4 of this RAGL In review. Kind of crazy that the last 3 parts were all on one day, 10 games, and then to top it all off, go 2 weeks without a single RAGL match, then play 8 games all in one day, so just 2 games less than I did the first time. Obviously, I had the 10 previous games the 2 weeks before, and I did sprinkle in a few games in between there too, so it wasn't as terrible as it was starting the season, not having played in a few months, but that's alright. We're on Glittering Goalie, and of course, just make things even more stressful, more hard, I'm playing against Cav as my first player. That's always going to be a hard game, and then playing Cav as somebody coming off of a 2-week break after playing a whole bunch of games is definitely just really a roller coaster of a season. That kind of exemplifies it here. Did get draw Soviets randomly for once, so that's nice. I'm going to do the quick tank build, obviously, because I've been doing that all season, but I also just added in some dogs. Unfortunately, that first dog did not catch the engineer. He goes down to a bunch of rifles, but that's okay. I have a second dog here. I'm just going to try to camp his oil there, if I can take that 3-to-1 advantage, that's always great. And if I don't, then I don't. But, you really shouldn't lose with the dog there, unless you're like I did right there, just not be on top of it. So that's $400 in dogs down the drain, another 200, but I'll get 100 back with the kennel, so I'm basically down $500 for free, and that's, not a great start. Cav is known to run with small leads like that and turn them into giant ambushes, but hopefully, $500 isn't super crazy. It shouldn't be game ending, but, when these top tier games get super tight like that, it definitely can feel like that. But Cav's gonna go pushing over here on my old Derek. He loses 3 rifles for it, and I don't lose anything, so that's nice. I'm only down 2 rifles now, basically, so that's a little bit more manageable, a little bit more equitable in all things considered. Soviets are going to be a little bit slower on the quick tank build, just because heavy tanks take a little bit longer to build than a medium tank. You're also going to have only 2 light vehicles rather than the 2 light tanks and ranger. That's okay too. I think APCs are pretty equitable to light tanks. They're going to be more for crushing and just better armor than a light tank, but light tanks obviously can poke at arc harvesters or oil derricks, just buildings in the back. They're great for power plant snipes, stuff like that, whereas APCs wouldn't be that great. But I guess APCs do have transport ability, so maybe some rocket drops could be really effective with APCs. That's going to be a little bit more costly on rockets for a Soviet army, but it's much harder to deal with a double APC rocket drop than it would be to deal with 2 light tanks and a ranger, I think. So there's some versatility there, and it's just something you have to kind of think of. Not something that I did in this game in particular, but it's alright. And then since I'm Glittering Goalie, I'm going to not move that main CV as quickly. I don't need to block the gem mines like I did against Moods. Just going to repair that bridge, stake on my base. That's just going to give me a little bit quicker on my building my infantry queue up in my macro, rather than delaying it half a move at MCV. Just really trying to focus on my harvesters. Typical for the early game, there's nothing else super much going on. I'm not super worried about Cav trying to push my Older. He's typically not that type of person. Instead, he's kind of like Fazar in that regard, where he'll just go and capture your Olderks somewhere after the very opening of the game. But got my 4 harvesters out. First APC is coming out, so that's great. Got my second APC coming out, and that should be basically right on time for my SD. Gonna pull those infantry back, because this is the time that if Cav does decide he wants to kill an Older, then my 12 rifles are not going to last very long, so go ahead and pull them back to the rest of my army. I'm actually really heavy on rockets right now. I got 8. I basically queued up 10 rockets and 12 rifles, so that's basically 1-to-1. But SD is out and going right into that heavy tank. Losing a scout there, that's okay. Still got the 1 scout spotted on his single mine expansion, so I know if he goes there first, that's probably where I'll want to attack, or do what I did against Moods and attack his main base. But Cav's usually smarter than that, and he'll go for the double mine expansion, which is definitely what you should go to first. There's no reason not to. Double mine's always going to be better, even with an extra ore on the single mine. Power plant's going to come down, and then I'm going to have that engineer go into that bridge. That'll repair it so I can get on that gem mine nice and neat. And I got my other tank finally coming out. The second heavy tank should be coming soon. Gonna take a little decent engagement here. Cav did not retreat his infantry, and I'm gonna clean up pretty much all those for free. Just a slight wound on my APC. Gonna kill that ORA Ladder too, because absolutely should. And so, you know, back after that, like, I'm technically ahead in assets, which is always great to be, but again, it's, you know, $304 is gonna make a big deal of things. Set up to attack through the top of his base, so I'm just, like I said, I'm expecting Cav to expand towards the second double mine there. So going into that would be probably pretty bad, because that's probably where his army is. And unfortunately for me, Cav decides to do some free light tank rush, and I am completely out of position for it. You know, if it hits me 15 seconds sooner, then I probably can defend it alright, because I have some rockets and a heavy tank there. Or if it hits me 30 seconds later, then, you know, I got more rockets coming out and more heavy tanks coming out. So already down 2 power plants, that's kind of rough. But, you know, I am going to be able to push off these light tanks. And I still do have that attack coming too, which should be pretty good. Have to sell that wall, because it was blocking my heavy tank shot, did not do what I really wanted to do. But I did eventually force off the heavy tanks, so that's okay. I should probably sell that extra ref, and maybe consider selling some Raxes. You know, building 2 power plants at 24 seconds is much better than building 3 power plants at 24 seconds, so something I should probably be doing, and, you know, I don't really need that extra ref anyways, but unfortunately I'm not doing that. I'm more focused on this attack, which is, it's not going bad at all. You know, I got 1 heavy tank there. He's got a pretty big army, but I got a lot of army too. I feel like I'm trading out pretty decently here. 2 APCs are going in and blocking, and then I decide to go for the crush. And I don't know if the crush was a great idea. I probably would have been better off if just letting it soak some more damage. You know, he's got the vision advantage there, so that army traded off a little bit worse than it could have had I had that APC alive just a little bit longer. His light tank's coming back, and I do manage to kill 1, and I see that there is more light tanks coming, which typically means that he doesn't have an SD yet, so Cav has been starting to be known as someone who likes his light tank cheese. He's been doing that a lot more recently. He did that to me, I think, last season in the playoffs on War Factory, and it completely caught me off guard, so that's something to be aware of facing Cav in the future is, you know, he has like his light tank cheese. And, you know, Allies light tank cheese is pretty good. I think Fazar kind of popularized it a little bit. I think I kind of have my own light tank cheese, so it's definitely super strong. But finally got my power situation fixed out, and I'm floating 9k as a result of that, so that's super unfortunate. All I pretty much need is to try to macro up, maybe expand soon, and this attack is not long for this world. Fortunately, my heavy tanks were just out of position, and he killed all my infantry corps before they really got in position. And I lose 2 heavy tanks for pretty much nothing again. That's rough. You know, I still have a 7k float, so I got like another minute or 2 before I need to expand. But I really need to start working on getting that MCV over there, or build an MCV itself. But the problem with building an MCV is I'm just so down on army value now. I have a testicle to try to protect that gem mine. It's very hard if he really wants to sit just on the other side of the actual gem mine itself. There's nothing I can do about it. But move my main MCV out, because again, I'm not going to build a second MCV at this rate. I don't think I could feasibly do it. I need all the army value I can get. And that 9k float is already down to 6k, and another minute here is going to be down to 4k, and then 3k, and so on and so forth. Another attack here, and Cav just has so much value. You know, I've got 3 heavy tanks, and they're just quickly falling. And he has melee tanks coming in now, so I'm aware that he's got SC tech now, which is not great for me, because the one advantage I would have was heavies are pretty good against light tanks. But as you can see, I have basically 3 rockets and a heavy tank to my name right now. Flame Tower does get some good shots here, which is nice. Gets some good value just bursting down on the big ball of infantry, but gonna lose another heavy tank. Have to pull this harvester just to try to save off this attack. I'm not sure if I can actually hold it. Moving out the minion speed does suck too, because now I don't have build radius in there, and that would have definitely helped change this battle a little bit more in my favor, but Cav does eventually run out of steam there. And I only lost 3 harvesters, which is kind of funny when you say you only lost 3 harvesters as a win. I don't typically really need those harvesters. I mean, it'd been nice if I didn't lose them, but, you know, losing my war factory would have been a lot more severe, I think. And as a result of losing that harvesters, and I'm starting to run out of eco, I pretty much decided that I need to build another harvester instead, and, you know, get to work on that ref, because I'm down to 2k, and I'm about to be down to 1k, and I don't think it's going to come out in time before I start stalling, so that's unfortunate for me. Cav basically is just winning by attrition here. Yeah, he's not played wrong at all. I mean, those light tanks still caught me off guard, so that was super nice on him. Probably should cancel that defense, which there we go. Cancel any of that extra 600. Probably should have paused my infantry Q2 just for a second, just to help get that eco a little bit more stabilized, but Still 15 seconds out on that ref, so I'm gonna need at least 2 more Harvlows. But I did have a Harvester build out of the War Factory, that's great. Could maybe cancel that heavy tank coming out, and that could get this ref out faster. The longer you delay the ref, the worse it's gonna be, so. Then again, kind of moving out this army. He's still not expanding there since my ref scout saw that, so he's probably expanded just completely down south. Best case I could hope for that army is it catches an MCV that's blind scouting, or maybe just he's on a move command or something like that, but I don't have a whole lot of high hopes for that army. And of course, as soon as that army is well far away, Cav attacks the same exact place, which is kind of where I expected an attack, but it's unfortunate because that is definitely my exposed spot. Try to repair that Harvester, but I'm just so broke I should probably just send it back to harvesting. He's going to go from a War Factory now, which... Okay, yeah, he's got quite a lot. He's going to get the War Factory, and I have that army that's pretty much going to do nothing. I'm too broke. I can't even build the base defenses right now. Moves in his medium tanks, which is doing a lot of self-damage there with his own rockets hitting them, but that's okay, because he's got like 5 or 6 of them, and I have 2 rockets and Tesla Coil and 1 Harvester left, basically. So this game is definitely over. Cav's light tanks in the middle, or the early game rather, absolutely crippled me. I'm gonna try to place down a flame tower and it goes pop, but go ahead and say GG. And yeah, those light tanks killing 3 power plants, not selling off power plants, and having like over a minute and something, minute and a half basically, just sitting low power is not great in that part of the game. That's when you really need to have your macro getting up. So we'll play to Cav game 1 and we'll jump into game 2. Alright, back here for game 2. This time it's going to be Cav's pick. I am confident in banning no maps, although I think it's always smart to ban a map just to get one out of the way that you don't have to worry about. Just put it out of your mind, and that's always nice too. Jared decided to come in his spec. Of course, Jared can spec. I don't have a problem with that. He doesn't lag or anything like that, so. Cav goes ahead and pick Tank Trap. That is a very interesting pick. I'm not sure why he likes Tank Trap necessarily. I don't think it's a very good map. I feel like you pretty much expand to 2 areas and that's all the game ever goes to. I don't think I've ever seen a late game on this map because it's just not very late game-esque. And even I don't think the late game on it would be very good anyways, but you know, some maps I'm just not a fan of, and it'd be like that sometimes. Got random allies draw this time, and you guessed it again, it's a quick tank build. I think Cav was the person I most wanted to practice the quick tank build with, because if somebody's going to find weaknesses to it, he'll be the one, and he kind of exposed one weakness with the light tanks last time. It might be a little bit map specific on that one. I don't think light tanks would have hit me as hard on Pleasant Plains. It also could be just a Soviet weakness too with the slower heavy tanks, but that's alright. Gonna go medic first, which is always dangerous, especially after engineer. If Cav decides to go hard for that old Derek, then I will absolutely lose that battle. But if he goes like kind of sort of soft, just try to send like 5 rifles there, or maybe 10 rifles, something like that, then I should have a decent chance of winning it, just because that medic is a little bit slower than rifles, so you're going to see that my other rifles are catching up to it. And it'll get there basically, maybe save a rifle, that's, you know, a $300 save, and every time it heals, it's basically like somewhere between like $50 and $100. Clearing out the barrels, because barrels are bad, and I've learned my lesson more than once with that. And unfortunately, Cav does have a 5-stack there, and I lose medic and a few rifles first, but, you know, that does tell me that if I keep pushing, I'll probably have enough. You know, I'm going to take a little bit of loss. Doing some fancy force mark as I can, because why not? And, you know, usually after force fire, people will instantly try to move away, so once you hear a guy die, that's a great time to just move in, and you'll catch them as they crawl away. And since they're traversing between cells, they won't be able to attack, and you'll be able to save some damage that way, do a lot of damage. Just a helpful little hint there. Here, the Cav is killing the barrels near the oil eject, so that's kind of what I expected since he only had 5 rifles here. Unfortunately, I moved that rifle or that engineer off just 1 millisecond before, which is unfortunate for me. But actually, I think turns out in my favor, because for some reason Cav tries to attack move into me, and it goes pretty badly there. I think I killed pretty much all of his rifles, if not all of them. So, just gonna focus on my quick tank build right here for a second, and then I'm gonna move down to that 3rd oil derrick in the middle, because I don't think Cav has anything left, honestly. I'm probably pretty safe to take it. You know, having a 3 tank or 3 oil derrick advantage is always great. Been a little bit slow on my quick tank build this time, but I mean, it's more because I've just been microing. It's not a huge deal. Probably like maybe 10 seconds slower than it could be, which is like half a meter tank, so I guess that kind of does matter, but should be okay. Gonna send this 3rd harvester across to the double mine, I could keep it on that single mine with my third ref, but I just don't think there's enough eco there to sustain it. It'd probably run out before I could properly get expanded to that double mine in front of me. And so it's better off just sending it across, getting all that extra eco there, and helping mine that out a little bit more efficiently. Grab the third ORA Ladder, which is nice, and then I'm going to send my engineer down because there's a hospital in the bottom corner. I don't think it's ever come into play, and I am allies, so even less likely to come into play for me. But 4 harvesters out now, so that means it's time to get that infantry queue running. And SC should be coming out in just about 15-30 seconds. Second light tank is popping out now. I'm just once again just queuing up all their infantry, sitting back. Probably should pull those troops in the middle back, or staged everything up there. Just realized that Cav stole my old Eric in the top left of my screen. But there's nothing else I can really do about it right now. I'm kind of focusing more on getting that expansion out. I also see that his ranger is by my MCV, and he's going to kill a rocket, which is really unfortunate because that rocket totally reveals that I moved out my main MCV. So I'm not sure if Cav is like aware of the build I did, but that's you know, definitely a cue that something weird is going on. Very minimum, he probably thinks I'm doing tank first, which, you know, in essence, this quick tank build is tank first. It's just a little bit more steep and special. Just gonna go send those 2 light tanks out to harass his oil there, because why not? Got my first medium tank coming out. Second one should be coming out pretty shortly. I think it was a little bit slow to start my queue again once the MCV deployed, but that's okay. See that Cav's engineer is not hanging out by his oil. It's probably back in the ranger. That's fine. Realize I should probably just, you know, send that engineer into the ranger, but bad shift collect, and it runs right by the ranger, which is kind of annoying, and then I just absolutely fail to get it back into the ranger. You can see that my micro sometimes is pretty shit, but that's okay. Micro is a great thing to have, and it does make a difference in some engagements, but generally just more macro is better, especially in this game. Cav is a single light tank, and then I see some rocket shoulders with it, so I said, alright, time to get out of there. And unfortunately, his ranger, once again, comes back, gonna find some more rockets to kill, and every rocket kills is, you know, that's a free $300, but he decides to go back and try to kill the engineer. And unfortunately for him, my engineer does capture it in time. Meanwhile, I got this attack set up on his double mine expansion, and curiously enough, Cav is not there at all, and I turn into him in the north and find out that he has pillboxes and all of his army there, which is really honestly kind of strange. I don't know why you would ever really want to expand to that spot first, but Cav did, and as a result, he's gonna wipe that army because he basically counter concave me, and that's really unfortunate for me. One small bonus I do have is I'm probably going to get that old Derek with my 2 light tanks, which is not a huge constellation against this army. And Cav has so much rocketeers that these 2 medium tanks are not long for this world, and they're gone, and another medium tank's there, so yeah, this is starting to look really bleak for me. I'm just now expanding. Cav was ahead of me in expansion somehow, which is kind of crazy. And yeah, I have basically a small army of my name. Cav is pretty much untouched. I don't think I traded great at all in that last engagement. To make matters worse, I've already lost a light tank, so I just go ahead and surrender. And yeah, I am honestly quite confused on why Cav expanded there. If you guys could tell me, I'd be very much interested. You know, there's the possibility that playing off meta is something that you'd want to do, but it really just befuddles my mind that he expanded there. That ore mine is not worth it because you're gonna have to transfer some harvs there, which is gonna instantly like suck it dry. It's only like a $4,000 ore mine, so that's like what, 8 trips of a harvester, so that's like 30 seconds with 3 harvesters there. So you're gonna have to instantly expand again, which he did to his credit, so he was well over that. So it wasn't like he was making a stupid macro mistake, just a uncharacteristic one. It really worked out in his favor. I think had his army been on his double mine expansion where I was expecting to be, I would have probably been in a lot better position, since my concave would have been formed in that direction. And yeah, so Cav 2-0s me. That's kind of unfortunate. Definitely a weird match. And yeah, we'll jump into the next one. Alright, we are back here for the next series, which was against the lovely Bain. Yes, that is right, Bain actually played in a season and did not instantly forfeit. That is super uncharacteristic of him. I'm not sure what compelled him or what excited him to play OpenRA again, but it was a pleasure to play against Bain. I really like playing against Bain. I think he's actually a really good player when he is super practiced and not rusty, and probably not drinking or playing RAGL, but 2 of those 3 things I don't think were happening during this game, but that's alright. I randomed into Timian. I'm okay with Timian. I like it. It's a pretty standard, easy to play map. Bain and I are having a little good luck, have fun, memeing back and forth. I don't know why, but that just kind of sums up games with Bain when I play against him. I don't know why, and then things happen. But got allies again, so you know what? It is time for the quick tank build. Just because I lost CAD does not mean I'm gonna stop using it. I am always gonna use it because I think it is a damn good build. And I'm also doing my medic first because I am bold and I don't expect Bain to try to push that over there too hard. He might try to go, snipe it or something like that, but I don't expect him to try to run straight there. If he does, that's fine. I'll just run to the other Derek. It's very hard to control both of them on this map. They're just far enough that establishing one area is pretty easy to just go to the other one if your opponent's paying attention. Got my Harvester out, and the one thing that does suck about Timian is the ore sucks. It's not so great to do a rest cell on this map just because of how spread out either double mine or patch is. But because I'm doing the quick tank build and I want those extra 6 seconds, I'm going to try to do it. Bain is sending a few rifles into my line, but you can see that my engineer is nicely nestled in there, and he's sending a few more rifles into the desk. And I'm okay with that. Basically, I think I've killed 3 or 4. Unfortunately, when my rifles all get to the same cell, they scatter a little bit, and I almost use the medic. But luckily, he survives, so I'm going to get that old Derek nice and easy. See that Bain also has a rifle run through my base, so I just built a few extra rifles to deal with it. He's either looking for the engineer coming back, or he's just trying to scout what I have. Either way is a SWAT option, but he reveals himself and tries to kill the old Derek, but my 3 rifles are not going to have the way with that. Kill that rifle and just put him back to my base. And then just send this engineer over to my ORA for now. He's kind of done his job. Timian's not exactly the best map to try to do some sneaky engineer captures. But you should never just throw away your engineer if you can. Those sneaky engineer captures have absolutely won and lost me games as a result. And they could definitely totally swing a game. You steal a con yard, that's great. You can still war factor, that's actually probably bigger than a con yard. Because I think war factory is 48 seconds and con yard's 40 seconds to build, so it's definitely a hit or miss, but gonna do that rift cell, and that's gonna suck a little bit, like I said, because that ore is so far apart, but I'll have to deal with it for now, and just focus on getting this build together on a timely manner. And once again, since I'm allies, I'm gonna have those 2 light tanks and a ranger. That it is just super nice to have the scouting ability of a ranger. I think that's the one thing that Soviets really lack, and the one thing that probably hurts this as a Soviet build is just not having that ranger. But I guess you could, instead of building 2 APCs, probably build 4 flak tracks, which actually would probably be pretty good. And that is, let's see, 15 seconds each for a flak track, so that's 60 seconds, and then it is 44 seconds total. 20, I think it's 21 each for medium tank or an APC, so I guess you can only build 3 or 5 flak tracks, and you'd be a little bit over budget there, but that's okay. I'd have to work out the math myself, and doing the math off the top of my head is not something I'm good at. That's why I did not do math in school. I decided to do other stuff. But getting up my infantry queue, since I have my 4 Harvesters out, and Bain's deciding he's going to kill my old Derek, which is very common in this map since they're less health. Moving out the main CV, and I got it nice and numbered, so I'm moving there too. And unfortunately, I lose my ranger and a bunch of rifles, which is really sucky. But luckily for me, I do have the 2 light tanks, and Bain was very light on rockets, so gonna be able to clean that up. Bain's probably just ahead in value as a result, just because I lost so much just by that barrel. So that's a lesson to you guys out there. Be careful of the barrels, and I've seen it so many times on this map in particular, people losing so much to those barrels here. I would love to have that ranger. Probably would have taken a much better engagement had I still had the second light tank and a bunch of that rifles and rockets too that I probably lost, but that's right, I still have quite a big army, and I'm not super scared of Bain having a bigger army. In fact, I think Bain's probably not the best macro when he's rusty, and he's definitely not a practice player. He's just mostly a shit poster and tunes in for team games, gets drunk, and then falls asleep and stays in the lobby for a couple thousand minutes. But I'm up to 7 racks, or should be up to 4 racks now. Should be up to 7 racks rather shortly, about another minute as soon as this ref comes down. But this attack's going to be in a good position. Don't need to go all the way across the ORA, I just need to go across the top, since it's very likely that his MCV is just now getting there, just judging by the time, or is, you know, just now establishing somewhere around there. And as a matter of fact, there is his MCV. Just going to focus the medium tank on there, although he is doing some good micro there, and I do see with my light tank that he is having an army coming there, so after that pillbox goes down, I'm going to have to retarget my army. And he does pull his harvester too, which actually honestly probably helps him, but once again, he is super light on rockets. Gets some okay crushes with that light tank, and I'm just going to try to save it. And then, yeah, he runs out of army there, and I still have 2 medium tanks, it's just great, so I'm going to go ahead and kill the MCV. I've killed the harvester too, which is also nice, so, you know, if I really want to, I could maybe kill the ref, but I decided to focus on that husk instead, because Bain is somebody who will build mechanics. He's usually actually pretty good about that, regardless of how rusty he is. And I'm trying to run that medium tank out. He decides he wants to go back in, I'm not sure why. But I think I got it out in time. Iron Harvester, I think it harvested once before, because I was a little slow to place the ref, but that's okay. Looks like I even killed another medium tank there, so that's not a bad get for me. About to get up to those 7 Raxes as soon as this eco stabilizes, and I'm going to hit him in his main at the same time, so this match is going a lot better than it did against Cav. And, you know, Bain's trying to do something with that engineer, but a timely medium tank will kill it, push it off. It only takes 3 shots to kill an engineer, which is kind of crazy. But the second attack is here, ready in stage, and this secondary army is going to be in position again, so Bain's going to have to choose where he wants his army. He can't have it in both places. And he's not defended well enough here. Pillbox is not going to last very long, and he goes ahead and calls GG, which maybe was a little preemptive, but, you know, losing your expansion MCV and your harvester there is kind of hard to deal with on this map, especially when you really need 2 MCVs, so unfortunate for him, but we'll jump into game 2. Alright, back here for game 2 against Bain. Bain picks Pleasant Plains, and I got allies, so yes, you're right, it is time for quick tank build. I think I've abused this build so much all season long, and anytime somebody wants to pick Pleasant Plains on me, I'm more than happy to see that, because that is like the map that I tested this build on, so if there's a map that I know it works on, it's this one. Once again, Bain and I get into a good luck, have fun war. For some reason, it's just, again, just Bain things, I suppose. But I'm gonna switch it up and hit it with a no U this time. You know, gotta hit that in reverse every now and then. And he's not gonna like that. He's gonna be pretty dismayed, and I think that's the key to winning this match, just to win the shit posting between. You can see Bain, he's saying that's not very nice, so he's already thrown off his game. So I gotta hit him with that good luck, have fun, you know, just to show that I'm good sport. Don't want to be too, like, competitive against Bain. But just, you know, guarding that over there, slowly capturing, nothing too much to talk about. Bain is, Bain is Bain. If you know who Bain is at this rate, then you know exactly what kind of person he is, and if you don't know who Bain is at this rate, then I don't know what you're doing. Because, I don't know where you'd find Bain. You don't really see him in voice anymore since Caution doesn't stream. Rest in peace, Caution. You don't see him playing RAGL except for, you know, this season, which is definitely an outlier. And he doesn't even stop on the Discord, so yeah. Bain does like to randomly voice call me at like 5 PM my time when I'm like just getting off or something like that, to have some sort of junk rambling, but that is quintessential Bain. Drunkenness and Bain, they go together like peas and carrots. Just like Forrest Gump said. But anyways, just, you know, microing those harves, got my engineer on my scout position, which is nice. Probably should pull those rifles and stuff back since they've defended my old Derek. I don't expect Bain to do something crazy, like try to die for the old Derek right now. And even if he did, you know, my rifles would be close enough if they're just sitting by my racks to save it. But just getting my rockets out now, because this is right about the time where a War Factory first build will be coming in, or maybe something crazy like a War Factory Rush. But since I did see rifles, War Factory Rush is not likely. Well, Bain is so close to actually catching a rocket there. You know, if you can sacrifice a rifle for a rocket, that is, you know, 3 times the value, so definitely worth it. Getting that third harvester out, getting a chest on across from that single mine, and I'll have that ref coming out basically right as it's done, so that'll be nice and neat. You know, get that eco boost right when I need it. And I could probably start building a few extra rifles if I really need to, but that's alright. Send those 2 technicians out to scout, because, you know, I want to know if he has a presence there, and would you know it, that definitely has a presence there. There's at least 1 rifle there, probably at least 2, since one of those technicians got 1 shot. And then my engineer does see Bain trying to be cheeky and run that engineer behind my base, but, you know, engineer had a radio, he read back to the boys, said, hey, there's this guy, go commit war crimes against him, shoot a non-combatant. And I kill Bane's rifle too, so that's nice, and I just retreat my army back. You know, Bain should probably be aware of how much army I had there, so if he does have an attack coming, it'd be very risky to have. At the same time, you know, if you are going to beat this build like Cav did, you know, going for power is always a great option. Or killing like a ref or refiner would actually absolutely cripple it way more than Cavs did. You know, Cav, if I had that attack go way better than it could have, Bain in a bad spot here, and wouldn't you know it, Bain is pushing on my ref, and that is unfortunate for me. So I'm gonna have to run these light tanks in, maybe get these rocket crushes, and I don't get a single rocket crush yet, but Bain does the unthinkable and he stops and then just GG. I don't think Bain knew how bad of a position was in, especially if he committed for that ref. Losing a ref there would absolutely have destroyed that build. I would have to completely change things up. I'd have to build another ref before I even move out, just because I'd be broke otherwise. And then I'm probably still gonna have to move out with my main NC, which, so luckily, you know, it is kind of close, but I definitely be behind on that foot. So even trading out the army that Bain did, the economic damage and then the macro damage as a result of that would probably put me way behind. So kind of sucks that Bain did not kill the ref there instead of try to focus my army. I think if he'd been playing more, he probably would have recognized that was a mistake. But a win's a win, and Bain GG'd out early for me, so I'll take the 2-0 against Bain, and I'll take the 0-2 against Cav. That's how it be sometimes. But I'll see y'all next week.